What's happening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Final Third. My goodness, it's been way too long. It's me, your boy, Sam, aka FIFA Brit, and I am joined by Mr. Brad Thomas. We've taken about a month off, took a little Christmas holiday break. We're visiting family, got places to go, people to see, but we are back, and we are back ready to record on a regular schedule again. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. Brad, it's been a long time. I feel like I haven't, we obviously haven't recorded in a while, but obviously we kind of missed out on all the New Year's action, the Boxing Day action. But we're back. Yep. The Premier League is pretty exciting. There's loads of drama going on, which I love. How's the last month been for you? I mean, that's pretty general. It's a wide period of time, but in general, how you doing?
Man, I've been good. I'm getting over a cold, so I've been I feel like I've been handicapping enough to have some fun, right? I'm not just looking at a slate and I have zero bets, but certainly not handicapping to my capacity where I just have a bet in every other game, So the past week has been tough, but still fun. I squeezed some bets out even in the Brighton game, even though I only capped it from a player prop perspective.
Fair enough. What have you got sweating on the Brighton game?
I just need Liam Delap 2+ shots. I lost the Adingra shots. I took the Adingra 2 shots just because I had that number at -200 and they were hanging at -150. I was just whatever. We got a little plus EV. I don't think he's gonna get enough run to get him, but if we got him, we got him. We didn't. He took one shot and subbed off the class.
That's the problem with Brighton is they have so many fucking wingers. They've got Mitoma. They have, O'Reilly was playing the 10 today. They got Adingra. Yep. They can sub on Ruta. They can sub on, João Pedro can play in the midfield if he has to, you know what I mean? They've got just so many guys. It's wild. So that's why I hate, it's same thing with Bournemouth. Bournemouth just have, infinite.
Wingers? Oh my God.
Yeah. They just have so many fucking, solid wingers. It's just okay, brilliant. You start Utara, and you're okay, I'll get some shots out of Utara, and then he subs off after have a fucking David Brooks or someone like that. It's just all right.
and then
where did David Brooks spawn in from?
When you don't take his shots, and he doesn't sub off, and then he has 5 shots, and you're
yeah.
How are you supposed to know?
Thank God, I think I've caught Utara on almost all of his explosive games for shots. So I think I've done well, but it does suck when that happens. It's very frustrating.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the state of the state of the union. Let's check in on what's going on in the Premier League. We've got games going on now, but by the time this goes out on Friday morning, those games will be done. So who knows what will happen? We don't know, but you guys will know. Let's talk about the Premier League title race because it's now actually getting quite interesting. Because about a month ago, I'd say Liverpool looked incredibly strong. They did not look they were winning basically every game. I saw an absurd stat that showed that Arne Slot had lost one game in the entirety of 2024 across his time in the Dutch league and when he took over in Liverpool. The one game that he lost was that game to Forest earlier in the season. He won or drew every other game. Liverpool were winning. It looked like they were just going to run away with it. Arsenal were playing well, but obviously injuries. Odegaard was, coming back from injury at the time. Saka, now obviously the big news is Saka's going to be out for, initially a month and a half, 2 months. Now Arteta's saying it could be 3 months. Yep. So I wouldn't bank on him being back anytime soon, which is a bummer, obviously. But now it's January. Liverpool look shaky. Newcastle, who we said, a couple of months ago, remember when we were just wow, you really can't tell if Newcastle are going to be good or bad. And now they are very much very good, which is so interesting. It just clicked for them, And then on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you have Chelsea, who everyone was just they were in second place. They were everyone was just "Ooh, we're ahead of Arsenal. Arsenal have fallen off. If Arsenal are in the title race, then so are Chelsea," said Chelsea fans.
Yeah.
Even though Maresca refused to acknowledge they were ever in the title race. And then they have what looked like the easiest run. The best strength of schedule For anyone, and of course the sirens are back. You know, you can never
because we're recording.
I swear they just wait for me to start recording, and then it's just like, let's turn on the sirens now. And then Chelsea, who had the easiest run of games, when was the last time they won? I think they've gone 5 games without a win, which is absurd.
Like it.
I genuinely don't think they've won a game in the time that we have been off the air.
They don't know how to keep a clean sheet. That's why.
Yeah, it's so. Yeah, it makes no sense because like that. I mean, that was kind of a problem, but it wasn't a massive problem, and now it is very much a problem. Yeah, the last time, they won in the FA Cup against Morecambe. Doesn't fucking count. The last time that they won in the league was December the 15th. So it's been a month. That's just crazy to me.
That's literally the time
they dropped out of the top 4. The top 4 is currently Liverpool, Arsenal, Forest, and Newcastle. And Forest, I mean, fuck knows what's going on with Forest. I don't get it. I don't think it's going to last, but I've been saying that for the past like 2 or 3 months.
Dude, I don't think it's going to last. And then they shut me up on against their match against Liverpool. Like, goalie just decides to stand on his head.
Yeah, Sells is having the season of his life. It's amazing. He's playing so well. And like I'm kind of bummed because I live bet Salah once it hit the 80th minute at like plus 800. Sure. I was like, this game just reeks of a Salah pen, or he just finds like a great chance. And then he had like, I think as soon as I took that live bet, he had like 4 shots, and 2 of them easily could have been a goal. He had one going top corner that Sells made an absurd save, and then one got blocked off the line. And I was just like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Like, I'll take it. I'm more than happy to see Liverpool drop points. But that should have hit.
That should have 100% hit. I just couldn't believe like he was standing on his head for real, man. I should look at that. I'm gonna look at the XG and be like, I know it had to have been insane. Do you know off the top of your head?
Yeah. Liverpool's XG. I think they had around 2. I think. Wow. Couldn't tell you for sure. Yeah, 1 point. Wow, I fucking nailed it. 1.99 XG. Fucking nailed it. 23 shots, 7 on target.
It felt higher. That's probably.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's going to be fascinating. Do you, I'll ask you again, and I feel like your answer will be yes, but I'm curious to see if it's not. Do you still think Liverpool are going to win the league?
Yes.
Okay.
They're going through a really bad rough patch.
They've got enough to see it across the line.
They've got a really bad rough patch, but like, I just don't feel like they're like what's going wrong with them is something that you can't fix. Like they're going to score goals.
Well,
they're going to get better defensively. They had that part where Konate was out. That kind of like screwed them a little,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. It is something that you can fix, and conveniently it's January, which is the only month that you can fix this kind of stuff with new signings. We're not going to talk about that now, but we do have a little audience. I put out on Twitter and I asked in the Discord for people to give us some things to talk about, and one of those things is let's talk about January transfer window, or at least like the specific question was, who should your club sign? So we can get to that later because I have Arsenal thoughts and I'm sure you have Juventus thoughts. But let's talk about the window in general, because we've got we've already had some incredibly exciting business, and we've got a load of other interesting moves that are on the horizon potentially. So I suppose we'll start with City because firstly, fuck City. You little cheating bastards, your 115 financial charges, you shouldn't be able to spend this money. But of course, they've gone out and signed 3 players for big money already, just because they can. Roll on the verdict of this trial. I'm sick of this club just being able to throw money at shit. Like, don't get me wrong, Pep Guardiola has revolutionized modern football, but he's not the best manager of all time. I need people to stop sucking his dick. He's never actually taken on a real challenge. This man literally, his managerial career is Barcelona with Messi, Bayern at like the peak of their fucking powers, and Man City having with 115 financial charges. This man has never been short of money. He's never been short of having the best fucking squad available to him. Like he's never challenged himself. Never fucking challenged himself. So Let me just get that off my chest. If my thoughts about
I know
City
I know that one was eating you alive.
weren't clear, it should be. I say that as I'm wearing a fucking NYCFC fucking shirt. Like, yeah, okay, you got me. I support a City football group over in America, but we don't benefit from that kind of shit, okay? Until De Bruyne fucking decides to come from Man City and play for NYCFC, and Pep Guardiola leaves City to come and manage NYCFC, then we can talk about how I might be slightly complicit in this. But we know we don't benefit from that shit at all. So it's not the same. Don't even come at me if you're watching this on YouTube. But City have made some pretty good signings. Like objectively speaking, that they are addressing some pretty key areas. Obviously, the big signing is. Yeah,
I'd be pissed when they get Cambiazo and be like, what the frick?
Yes, that came out of nowhere. The big signing is Marmoush. That's someone I wanted. 100%. Someone I wanted Arsenal to go after, but he's not he wasn't my number one pick for what I think that we need, but he would have been a decent signing.
Yeah.
But he's exactly what City need, just because they sold, and I said this at the time, they sold Julian Alvarez and did not bring in
no one
of the same profile to replace him. And it just
stupid.
they went from having Haaland as the main goal scoring threat and a second striker that could clean up if Haaland was getting 2-3 defenders marking him, which he was. That was Alvarez's job, and he did so well there. They did not sign anyone to replace that profile. De Bruyne obviously hurt, and it suffered because then they're just going to get the ball to Haaland and no one else could fucking score because Phil Foden forgot how to kick the ball vaguely towards the goal.
Hey, he had a brace.
Oh, good for him. One of them was a fucking rebound. I could have scored that goal. He scored his first Premier League goal in December. I'm done believing this is the best player in the Premier League as of last year. Throw that shit out of the window. But now they've brought in Marmoush, who can operate as that kind of second striker that right alongside Haaland. He can play on the wing as well if he has to. That's kind of that's what I wanted him at Arsenal. I wanted him to be a left winger that can actually shoot the fucking ball.
Yeah.
But so he's a versatile player and he scores goals, which is such a massive. That's what City needed because they've got Haaland, and now they need someone who could just strike the ball cleanly. If Haaland is getting double teamed, pause. And now it opens up a whole lot of possibilities from them offensively. That's a good signing. And then their other two signings are two random ass fucking teenage center backs who, according to the people that I respect scouting wise and talent ID wise, are apparently quite good. But one came from Palmeiras, and the other one, the only reason I know the other one is because I got fortunate and I tried to he plays for someone he used to play for someone in League One. I think it was Len. I forget which team it was that this was Kusanov that they signed. And this was in the French Cup, I think it was. And he scored. Well, no. He took a shot and it was going in and it deflected ever so slightly off someone on the goal line. Yeah. And the goal was initially given to Kusanov. Then it was changed and given to the guy. It took a slight deflection off before it went in. And a lot of people hammered they tried to catch a glitch. They took the guy that it deflected off. And then it changed to him, and some people got paid on it, some people didn't. And then a few days later, the goal was changed back by Opta to Kusanov. I missed the striker when that line was open, so I didn't get what was the actual glitch. So I just put a little bit of money on Kusanov because he was plus 5,000, and I was like, hey, fuck it, I'll stick a bit of money on it just to see if they ever change it back. I think I put $20 on it. And then they changed it back a few days later, and it got paid out for $1,000. And I was just like, "Fuck yes!" and then he signs for City, and I was just like, "Hey, why do I fucking know that guy's name? He's really familiar." So I think City are still missing a defensive mid. They really need a proper center mid, and I don't know who they're going to bring in for that. But apart from that, they've kind of made the signings that I think they really needed to address.
Yeah. No, they did a good job. You think they're done? You think they're done? Maybe.
Well, they're sniffing Cambiasso from Juventus, which you mentioned. Yeah. So Who knows? As for other signings, I don't think they'll go for him in the January, nor do I think Newcastle would sell him. But Bruno Guimaraes is like the perfect. That's like they were rumored to be signing him over the summer, and then that never happened. You know, I mean, he's going to run them.
I don't think you can
so much money,
right? Like you can't let him go at this point.
No, not in January. And this is what frustrates me in general about. I mean, specifically Arsenal fans, because a lot of Arsenal fans are just being really fucking annoying and just like begging for like they were like, oh, we have to go out and sign like Nico Williams and Gyökeres in the January transfer window, and it's just like no one's selling their superstars in January. Yeah. Unless you're paying a premium. The only reason that Marmoush is going to City is because, one, he's playing for Frankfurt and Man City are coming to call. That's kind of a call that you can't ignore. And also, you know, Man City are like, we want to pay 50 million for him. We think that's what he's worth. And Frankfurt are like, fuck no, we want 70 and it's going to reach 80 with add-ons. Yeah. So like they're getting a big sum of money for a player who, let's be honest, has been decent, but this is very much a standout season for him, and they're selling high on that. So that's the only reason that move is happening now. But like, if you like, for example, people are saying that like I mean, the people that want us to sign Isak in January, you know, I'm sorry, do you want to chalk up 150 million for him? Like it's not happening. It's not worth to just spunk money like that on, you know, absurd money on players that are playing for teams that are competing for shit right now. Like it's not happening. The only fairly big name that I think is vaguely gettable is Sesko, and that's only because Leipzig still have 6 losses in 6 Champions League games, but they're still pushing for, you know, decent placement in the Bundesliga, so I don't think they would sell him mid-season either.
Yeah.
And then you know, that's a striker. I don't think we're signing a striker. If I'm being perfectly honest, in January. I don't think there's someone out there. Thomas Frank has said Mbeumo isn't for sale in January, and I kind of thought he would be like the realistic one because apparently we were targeting him for the summer.
Yeah.
And a reporter for Sky sort of he broke the news that we were looking at him for the summer, and then he like a few days later, I think it was like yesterday, he like quote tweeted it with like the eye emoji, and everyone was just like, "Oh, does this mean we're gonna like move it up to January?" And then Thomas Frank is like, "No, he's not for sale." So, I mean, like Brentford aren't competing for shit. They're gonna come mid-table. I don't think it would be, you know, if we came in and we bid like 50 million for him, I don't think that'd be the worst thing in the world. But I'm guessing, you know, they're probably going to be stubborn, which is a shame because, you know, I think Mbeumo would be a decent signing, but if we can't get him in January, I'm not entirely sure I would go for him in the summer unless we exhaust like all of our options.
Yeah.
But, you know, I really just don't know who we can target, you know, that I would want, because it has to be a player that can that fits into the squad and is then still going to contribute when Sacco comes back from injury. So it's got to be a versatile winger that can play on either side, which is why I'm so upset that Aston Villa got Daniel Marlin for 23 million. What a fucking bargain! Like I would be all over that. You know, I know he's like, you know, he's not like a superstar, but for 23 million for a guy that bangs in goals in the Champions League as of last year, that is a decent depth signing. And, you know, now Aston Villa have got a brilliant, you know, what a great signing that is for them. I'm jealous.
That was a massive signing for them.
Yeah.
Sneaky. That's one of those sneaky signings.
Yeah. And they moved very quickly on that.
They did.
That happened in like a couple of days.
It was funny too, because like I like didn't even, I don't know if I didn't keep up enough. Like I was like, I didn't even realize like he was that out of favor, where like he was just out of there quick.
Yeah, he was not. I don't know. Yeah, he was just not playing well. Or no, it wasn't even not playing well. He just wasn't being played.
He wasn't being played. Yeah.
I mean, I think Jamie Gittins having a great breakout season.
Yeah,
is keeping him out of the starting lineup. Sure. And I guess they figured they could cash in.
Makes sense.
It is what it is. I mean, Dortmund are fucking trash. They just lost to
Dude,
Holst,
they are
Holstein
so
Kiel,
bad.
whatever the fuck their name is.
Bro, when I watch them play out of the back, it's like watching a bunch of like middle schoolers. Like, no joke. It's so bad. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, think of anything else. Do any other strategy than the one you're doing. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I feel like I have said this on the podcast because I say it a lot. And if I say it a lot, I've probably said it on here. But teams just need to learn when they are not meant to play it out of the back. I'm sorry, not every team is meant to play gorgeous football,
Exactly.
I saw this brilliant quote earlier this morning, actually. It was a quote from Tony Pulis, who obviously, if you guys don't know, longtime manager of Stoke. He's the guy. He's the guy that everyone loves to compare Arteta to because we happen to be good at set pieces. That's disrespectful to Arteta, and it's also disrespectful to Tony Pulis because they're two completely different kinds of managers. Both very good, but like they're not the same. They're not the same at all. But Stoke were very much known for gritty football, grinding out ugly results. They don't play flashy football, but they stayed in the Premier League. They would grind out to there's a reason why Can You Do It on a Cold Rainy Night in Stoke is a meme, because they had a difficult stadium to go and play into. And it was a great quote. He was just like, when I got them promoted to the Premier League, I called up Alex Ferguson and asked him for advice. And Alex Ferguson was just like, don't cater to the way that the big clubs and the managers at these big clubs are playing. If they are praising you for how you play, you are doing something wrong. You want them to be pissed and angry and not want to have to go and play against you. So make your stadium fucking hostile and just difficult to play. So he was like, so that's exactly what we did. We made the pitch narrower within regulation dimensions, but we narrowed the pitch and we let the grass grow longer than it should do, and we just made it different. We just made it different from we didn't cut the grass nice, and then basically just brought in a bunch of like shit house players that were just difficult, like fucking big center backs. Like I think it was it Robert Huth? I think it was like this fucking giant German center back. I think he played for Stoke, but that's a deep cut. I hope my bag of knowledge is good on that. But like they just brought in like the most fucking difficult guys to get past because they weren't trying to play gorgeous football. And I really love that. Like Sir Alex is a real one. I just love the fact that he was just like, don't try and emulate like what the big teams are doing. That's not what your destiny is here. You don't want them to praise how you're playing. You want them to be really fucking angry every time they have to go and play you. And that's what he did. So that's what a brilliant example of understanding what, how to play to your strengths. Nowadays you've got, the former manager of Southampton trying to play beautiful pet ball out the back. And it's just like, fuck out of here. Your team isn't meant to do that shit.
It's so funny to watch. You have to admit though, it's funny to watch.
Oh, hilarious. I mean, they were giving up like more than triple the big chances of the second team in the Premier League. Like they were just like gifting the ball, just like, hey, we'll play it out the back, immediately get dispossessed on the edge of the 18-yard box. Sure.
Oh my
That's
God.
a sustainable way of playing football, guys, for sure. Yeah. We'll see. And then, I mean, I've talked about what Arsenal need. I can get into that later when we talk about what we need, what we want our clubs to sign. But let's talk about Liverpool, because Liverpool are a massive, obviously they're the center of the Premier League title race. This is very much their title to lose. And if they lose it, then I want all the fucking people that came out and said Arsenal bottled the league, I want them all to target Liverpool. I need them to feel the shame. But
didn't it feel that way last year too, though?
For not as much as this.
They were different.
They were last year. Liverpool were in the driving seat with about 2 months to play. They had the points advantage, but Arsenal and City were basically within a game or two of them. And at that point in like April, a game or two is obviously close, but you're at the point where it's in your destiny. If you win out, then the league title is yours. And I think that's when they lost to Everton out of nowhere. I think that was like the first time that Everton won a Merseyside derby at Anfield for like 20 years or some like absurd number like that. And then they just, once that happened, they just like collapsed. They just completely lost all of their momentum and it was completely gone. This is different. They have been several, I mean, we're talking almost double-digit points, and that was with a game in hand. It's just like, this is very much the clear. They're now minus 500, or at least they were the last time I checked, which was this week. Minus 500 or so to win the Premier League. And for example, when everyone says that Arsenal bottled the league in 2003, Man City were literally the fucking odds-on favorites that entire time. So, you can say Arsenal should have done better down the stretch, but when William Saliba gets injured and you're playing Rob Holding in title-deciding games, you can't say that's not a factor. I'm sorry, you can't. And, Man City were always expected to win that. Whereas now, Liverpool are very much clear favorites to win. It's like Bayern to win the Bundesliga level of favorites right now, odds-wise. That's how expected they are to win the Premier League. But they are not well set up for the future. They've got a good season. They've got a good season going on now. That's why they haven't, that's why they're not even listening to Madrid offers about letting, Trent go in January, for example. But they've got Trent, they've got Van Dijk, and they've got Salah. You could argue they're three most important players. Maybe you could throw Alisson in there, but even Alisson's looking a little bit washed right now, and Kelleher looks fucking great. So I'm not going to put Alisson in there. Trent, Van Dijk, and Salah, I'd say, are Liverpool's three most important players and have been for a very long time. Somehow, Liverpool have mismanaged this shit so badly that all three of them are now in the last 6 months of their contract.
Yeah.
Any of them can sign a pre-contract. Any of those three can sign a pre-contract to agree to join a club in the summer right now. That's how bad this is. That's how bad this has got. They did not renew. They have not made good enough offers. Now, sure, I'm sure these players are holding out for good money. They all deserve it. They're all brilliant players right now, at the top of their, some of them, if not the best in their positions, then top 3, top 5 in their positions in the world. So they can demand that kind of money, and Liverpool aren't stepping up to pay it. And it's a very interesting situation because, and I think, I said this last time, but I feel like Trent is going to be the one that ends up going when Madrid call. It feels like it's inevitable. When Madrid call, Madrid are calling. So, we'll see how that goes. They've got Conor Bradley.
He's been the one that's been kind of flirting the most,
Yeah. But to his credit, he's made like a point of not talking about it in the media. He's just like, I'm not going to talk about it. We're discussing it, but like, I'm not going to tell you anything. Whereas Salah is doing the complete fucking opposite, which I love. Every time he fucking scores, he like posts on Instagram a picture of him like looking like so fucking cold, just like ice in his veins, standing over a penalty. Like he goes on interviews and he's just like, yeah, they haven't made me a contract offer yet. I hope one's coming. And like, I don't think he's doing it to try and get a move away from the club. I think he wants to stay, and I think he's trying to pressure them to give him a deal. But my guess is Liverpool only want to offer him a 1-year deal, and he's looking for a 2-year deal or something like that.
Yeah, they got to pony up. I mean, listen, like he's gonna hit a wall in his career, like every footballer does. But at this point, he's freaking earned it. He's earned that multi-year deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I think he deserves a 2-year deal, or he at least deserves to secure the bag for 1 year, which is what Saudi Arabia is offering. Like the same way that they, like last summer when they came in, like they went to Mbappe and they were just like, I guess it was 2 summers ago at this point, and they were like, hey, do you want, we know that when PSG were threatening to to bench him for the entire season, they were like, yo, do you want $500 million to come and do one season? Saudi Arabia, then you can go and join Madrid. And he was just like, nah, fuck that shit. I'm not doing that. Like that's basically like not that much money, but they're basically going to Salah and just like, hey, you want some big cash?
Yeah.
We got the big cash if you want the big cash. So, that's if Liverpool don't want to compete with that, like fair enough. They're probably not going to compete with that financially, but they need to at least make an offer that is high enough that Salah is willing to stay with the club that has, probably loved him the most over the course of his career and he's had the most success at.
Yep.
I think he wants to stay. Trent, I don't think
It feels like he
wants to
wants to
stay.
stay.
I think he could. I think Trent could stay, but when his best mate Jude is off playing for Madrid, and Madrid is one of the biggest clubs in the world, if not the biggest.
Yeah, there's a big difference in going and playing for Madrid or going to play in Saudi.
Yeah, for sure, and I think Mbappe understood that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think Van Dijk is the most important one here that you have to lock down. I think if you let Van Dijk go, that club will collapse. He is like they have Konate has obviously been good, but he's injury prone. Kwanzaa is not that good. Joe Gomez is average at best. If you lose Van Dijk, who is Van Dijk is the reason, and everyone loves to talk about how Trent quote unquote can't defend. Yeah. His defensive ability is not it's not elite, but it's solid, and it's also the reason why it's not brilliant is because Liverpool intentionally play him so high up the field, so he's engaging in you look at I love talking to Madrid fans, and some of them aren't convinced by Trent's ability to defend, and so for funsies I was like, let me go and dig into the comparative stats between Danny Carvajal, between Lucas Vazquez, between Trent, and it's remarkable. I'll bring it up right here. Here's a fun little thing. So if you look at tackle win percentage, Carvajal's obviously pretty brilliant. He's won this season, obviously before he got hurt, 75% of his tackles. But when you break down that percentage, and in comparison, Trent has won 48% of his tackles. That seems quite low comparatively, but here's the thing. Danny Carvajal this season attempted, this is just in the league, attempted 12 tackles, and he won 9 of them. That is incredibly low volume. That because often, because Madrid have such a brilliant center mid and center back pairing that oftentimes, he's not forced into making those tackles. He also doesn't play high up the pitch because he's not offering that much offensively, unless it's on set pieces. Obviously his goal in the Champions League final came off a corner, but he's not playing like Trent does. Now, in comparison, Trent Alexander-Arnold attempted 62 tackles and he won 30 of them. Yeah. So he's winning his tackles at about a 50-50 rate, but he's also playing so much further up the field and engaging in so many more duels with players that obviously it's going to negatively affect his numbers. And that's why Van Dijk is so important, is because he is so good that Liverpool can afford to play Trent further up, and they gain that offensive, what he offers from crossing, from set pieces, from, even shots outside the box. He just scored a brilliant goal outside the box in the FA Cup. Yeah, it was against I think it was against Acton Stanley or someone shit. Yeah. It was a great strike, So that's why you kind of have to take things with a grain of salt. You can't just look at things like tackle win percentage, because you got to be okay, 75% sounds brilliant. But, congrats to Danny Carvajal. You've won 9 out of 12 tackles. Yeah. Meanwhile, Trent is taking 6 times the number of tackles. And obviously that's, Trent has now played obviously significantly more games. Danny Carvajal has been hurt for months, but that's such a significant thing. If you toggle it per 90, Trent's taken 3.76 tackles per 90, Carvajal's taken 1.76. That's so double, triple the amount of tackles. It's because he's playing so much further up the pitch. So stats are important, but they're so easily to be misled. You need to watch games and just understand how you can break that stuff down. And so I don't understand why people don't think Trent will be a brilliant signing for Madrid. I think he'd be fantastic. He is not Lucas Vazquez. Lucas Vazquez is not offering anything offensively, really. And he also can't defend and consistently gets cooked in behind. And it's just it's not even close. He's a Spanish Ashley Young. I'm sorry. Lucas Vazquez is a Spanish Ashley Young. And frankly, I would prefer Ashley Young.
Ooh, frick.
Yeah. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. He's done more for Everton this season than Lucas Vazquez has done for Real Madrid.
Yeah, true.
But yeah. So who knows if Madrid will sign a defender? We'll look if they get Trent. Obviously, I'm expecting them to get him in the summer, but we will see. But yeah, I think that wraps up the January transfer window. Let's move into some weekend action. Why don't we? got a couple of we got some really fun games going on. You know, as always, we'll start with the Premier League. I think the most games are there that are interesting to talk about. But you know, so let's talk about Newcastle against Bournemouth. Now, it's quite fun to talk about Newcastle and be like, "Huh, wait, this team's fucking good again." It feels really good, and you know, because
nice but no Champions League, right?
I was thinking back to our predictions from preseason, and we were doing the top four. Obviously, you know, we had City like near the top, and it was just kind of like, okay, we might be wrong about that one. But then, like for the most part, the rest of our top four was pretty similar, Brad. We had Arsenal in there, we had Liverpool in there, and then we had Chelsea or Newcastle in that fourth place spot. And for a long time, when Newcastle were like 7th or 8th, you know, a couple months into the season, I was like, fuck, I thought with no European football, Newcastle would be so much better than this. I don't know what's going on. And then in the past month or so, they have just really turned it around. And, you know, it's incredible. They're actually a decent team.
Newcastle have been hilarious because I have a Newcastle top 4 bet and an Isak golden boot from preseason. I kid you not. I graded both of those dead like, I don't know, a month and a half. No, like 2 months ago, I graded them dead. And I was like, look, Isak's only 3 back. Like, that's not far.
It's not far, but Salah just keeps fucking scoring. That's the problem.
He does. It's like, relax.
And the problem is, I think City play Ipswich this weekend. That could easily be 3 goals for Haaland right there.
He had 3 against the last time they played.
Yeah, exactly. That was, you know, remember back then when Haaland had like 10 goals in like 3 games? It was just you know, absolutely on fire. I mean, the fact that City are playing so badly right now and Haaland is still like 1 off like the golden boot, it's just like crazy.
Yeah, and we know
Isak's playing very well.
That was like, it felt like that was Isak's first multiple goal game in a while too. That's what really helped to get 2 goals there.
Yeah.
The only problem with Newcastle is like in that Isak bet is they don't pile on. Like they don't play anybody to pile on. The second they go up 2 goals, Joe Linton doesn't go forward at all. Like he's zero part of the attack.
They take off Gordon, they take off Isak, they sub out the guys and they put in the B tier guys around like 60, 70 minutes into the game if they're winning. They're just like, yeah, that's enough. We good.
Exactly.
I was really bummed because I had a plus 5,000 lotto. You know, I said this the last time we recorded, and it's still fucking happening. I keep getting reversed on all of my goal assist combos. Oh. It's really fucking annoying. I had an Ollie Watkins goal, Morgan Rogers assist, that hit, and then I had an Isak goal and a Gordon assist. And I've made a lot of money on Gordon assists recently. And then, of course, they both score, and of course, Gordon scored off an Isak assist. And I was just like, you motherfucker. It's so frustrating too because I see people tag me in with their bet slips because it's a running joke at this point, and people just take all of my goal combos. They just put everyone to score or assist, and it's just like the odds are just like the odds aren't brilliant, but like, hey, at the end of the day, they cashed, and I'm still sitting there with egg on my face, being like, "Fuck, it happened again." And it's just like I don't want to run every single combo to score an assist because I don't want to just burn unnecessary units, but then it keeps fucking happening. So maybe I'm an idiot for trying to die on that hill. But yeah, that was annoying. But yeah, they're playing really well.
You should always like cover yourself a little bit, put a little of the score assist yourself.
Yeah, I know. I should. If the odds are worth it, like if the odds are worth it, then like I do.
I got just like so bad in this Manchester United game. The ball is out of bounds by almost 5 feet. And they said that the goalie saved it. What? I've never seen that before.
That's crazy.
The replay shows the goal. What the heck?
Why? Did you bet on the corners?
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
Fuck. That's so funny. I mean, look, it happened. Look, it's happening a lot. Not to stir the pot here, but obviously the North London derby just happened, and everyone is up. What?
I'm gonna send this to you, and you're gonna be like, "Wait, what?" Because I thought it was for sure out, right?
Yeah,
dude. When I looked, oh crap, I can't do it. I have to take a picture. I'm about to take a picture of this.
That's
I was like,
okay,
I'll
see it.
You're gonna be like, what? I want you to be like, holy shit, bro.
Hey, Vinny scored. Let's go.
I only need 2 corners, so it's not like I need a lot. But
yeah, but like this, like let's have a look at this. See what Brad's showing me. Yeah, that's why. That's clearly fucking out. That's insane. That's so clearly out.
They called that in.
That's hilarious. I mean, like, yeah. Here's the thing. Like, you know, this happened in the North London derby. Obviously, it wasn't even remotely close to that egregious.
No,
you know, but obviously people kicked up a fuss because Arsenal 1-0 down off a lucky deflection. But like, fair enough. You know, you take your chances, and we didn't at that point. It was very frustrating because we dominated that game for the first, for the first 20 minutes or so, and then Spurs, score the stupidest goal ever. And then, of course, we win a corner, and the replay shows that the ball did bounce off Trossard as it was going out. Now, yeah, it's not conclusive that Trossard was in bounds when it hit him, but he probably was. He probably was, just based on where his foot is standing. He probably was, but as we've all seen, you can't tell for sure. Optical illusions are weird. We've seen, like weird angles of the ball where it looks like the ball is out, and then you move the camera vertically, so it's like you got a face down eye, bird's eye view, and the ball is very clearly on the line. So angles can be deceptive. There's no way for sure to tell that he was definitely that he was definitely in bounds when the ball came off him, and so the ball actually went out of bounds off him. And then, of course, Arsenal scored on the corner, and then everyone started crying about it. I mean, Spurs fans were crying about it, and then everyone that hates Arsenal was crying about it as well. And it's just like, this kind of stuff happens all the time. And that is a tiny, minute decision, the difference between a goal kick and a corner. Is it significant? Yeah, if you score off it, for sure, it's significant. But you still have to defend it, And you have to understand that VAR is not looking at that. And my God, I saw this guy I think it's on Sky Sports. I think it's Dermot O'Gallagher, I think his name is just some of these pundits are absolutely insufferable. And he was trying to make the case that, that should never happen, and that VAR should be able to intervene. And, VAR should be able to intervene and just say if it's a goal kick or a corner. And it's just like, no, that's like, I mean, like, could you make the decision quickly? Yeah, but that's not in VAR's purview. And the same thing happened last week. I think it was Villa against West Ham, when Aston Villa got a corner that came off like it was like a clear shot, like a clear shot. It took no deflection. It was just spinning and went wide. A corner was given. Villa score off the corner, and no one made a big deal about it. No one was like, VAR should be reviewing this. No one said they didn't deserve the goal. There was borderline no fuss. Arsenal benefit from it. And of course, everyone loses their fucking minds. And it's just like, and the people crying about it are the same fans that when Arsenal are calling out actual, like, fucking objective incompetency, where Declan Rice gets kicked in the back of the leg and he gets sent off. Like, absurdly incorrect decisions. And they're the ones who were like, oh, Arsenal fans just cry all the time. You should respect the decisions of the referee. And it's like, oh, where did that energy go? Now that Arsenal have, for once, benefited from a potentially incorrect decision that you don't even know for sure is incorrect. So just pointing that out, just pointing out the hypocrisy, just pointing it out. But no, we won't dwell on it too much. Just had to sprinkle that out there. I forget what our original point even was. Oops. I got caught down the Arsenal rabbit hole again.
You got caught in the Arsenal rabbit hole, and I'm over here trying to find the rest phone number so I can beat their ass.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the next game. Let's talk about Brentford against Liverpool.
I didn't even talk about my bet in the game.
Oh, do your bet. Sorry, I suppose we should talk about actual content. I can't
believe this happened to me like that. But anyways, I took Bournemouth +1. I just thought that it was just such a big line for a team that hasn't lost in 10 games. Like, in Newcastle, for like what I talked about earlier, Newcastle don't really blow teams out. Like, in their 6-game win streak, 5 of them have been by double digits. But, like, look at the teams they're playing, right? The teams that just kind of sat down and took it from them.
Yeah, I feel that. I think I'm going to look at Bournemouth shots. If they didn't have a particularly good game shooting-wise against Chelsea. But, again, I think their line is around 12 or 13 shots. That's a very doable number. I know Newcastle are very solid. There's a good chance Bournemouth don't have much of the ball, but just the fact that they have so many players who all love to shoot. You know, you've got Evan Nielsen. Well, I think he might be hurt, but you've got Semenyo. You've got Kluivert. You know, you've got all these guys. You got Utara. Like all of those guys could put up 3, 4, 5 shots each in a game. You know, all of those guys love to shoot. So, but there's also a chance they get subbed off. So that's why I just go Bournemouth team shots, because they'll sub on someone who also wants to rip a ton of shots. So I'm pretty sure against Newcastle, their line is around 12 or 13 shots. I think that's a very achievable number for a team like Bournemouth. All right, now we can talk about Brentford Liverpool. This is an interesting one because Brentford, for the longest time, had, you know, we talked about this earlier, or on a different episode. Brentford had the best home record in the entire Premier League for a long time. They lost to Forest. They lost to Arsenal.
Home game. That was insane.
Yeah, you know, I mean, you know, it's kind of fallen off a bit recently, but they're still incredibly good at home, and they're still incredibly, you know, shit away. Now this time they're at home, and they're playing Liverpool, who have been struggling recently. So I am really fascinated to see how this game goes. I don't really know what I want to bet yet. I think I might go Liverpool shots. If I can get their line around 17, 18, that's usually a pretty hittable number for them. And then you just kind of have to hope that Brentford score the first goal, because that's always fun when a team has to chase. Then their shots become so much more tantalizing. So, you know, that's going to be an interesting one. Mbuemo, please turn up if you want to come join Arsenal. Best thing you can do right now is fucking hang a goal and assist or a hat trick on Liverpool's head.
All right, relax. I have Liverpool to win and both teams to score, so I don't want any hat tricks.
I like that.
I
think that's a good bet.
That's all I took.
What odds did you get on Liverpool to win both teams to score?
140. I think you said what else?
Oh, gotcha. Nice.
Yeah, plus 140. I'll take that every day.
Very nice. Yeah, we'll see. Again, I mean, Liverpool. Salah, I mean, he basically is Liverpool, but Salah just scoring an assist is like minus 200 or something absurd. I think against Southampton it was minus 400, something, you know, just disgusting.
Yeah.
You know, it's the odds. It's almost unbettable at this point.
Yeah.
But you know, we'll see. I think it's the must-win game for them.
It's funny because you used to be able to get Salah at the beginning of the season, like to score assists at like even money.
Those were the days. Those were
the
days.
I just got owned on another corner. Now they're saying that this guy, this ref, he bet under corners.
That's rough. That's rough.
Oh man.
Yeah, you got to win it. You have to win this, Liverpool. You're in a weird streak. You're not dominating every game. You're not winning every game. You need to win this game. Otherwise, you know, it's going to get dicey. That then if you continue to not win games, then you know the lack of confidence and the doubt
that's going to start setting in.
Starts creeping in. But it's not like Arsenal have an easy game. Arsenal are at home and they're playing Aston Villa. This is a fucking annoying fixture. I'm still traumatized from last season where we lost to them twice. That was very frustrating. This season, we beat them 2-0 at Villa Park. That was very early on in the season, though. We had a full-strength squad. We most certainly do not have a full-strength squad right now. We have essentially 4 attackers. Four, you know, not counting Odegaard because he's more of a midfielder. We have 4 attackers. We have Martinelli, we have Sterling, we have Trossard, and we have Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz, very unfortunately, has lost his confidence, which means that he cannot score. It's very much like when he had just joined Arsenal. He was playing in centre mid for a bit, so it's harder to score there. But he had no confidence, and it wasn't until we gave him the pity penalty that he scored that he kind of turned things around. Then we put him at striker, and then he really closed out the end of last season as arguably our best player. I mean, people forget this. He was 1 game away from breaking the record for consecutive games with a goal scored at home. in the Emirates era. That's how close. That's how he was one game away, and it was a game where we got a penalty, and we didn't give him the penalty. We easily could have given him the penalty. This is like a month or two ago. So it's not like Havertz is a bad player, but he's an incredibly confidence-based player, and right now he's got no confidence. Oh my god! Also, Amad Diallo has just scored twice. He's so fucking
brace,
good.
dude. A brace. Holy shit.
He is the one bright. He's the one bright spark in this Man U team. He's so fucking good.
He's so good.
And they just signed up a new contract too, so fair play. Yeah, so I don't know. This is a really tricky game for Arsenal.
Dude, what did I have in this game? I passed on this. I thought it was tricky as well, but I also thought that Spurs game was going to be tricky, and it proved to be tricky, and then you won the game, you know?
Yes, that's fair. But Spurs, I think are very much bad. They have potential to be good, but they are still very much, they are in terrible form. I think God, they haven't won. I mean, when was the last time that their last wins in the Premier League were against Southampton? And then they beat, obviously, that famous win against City, where they absolutely spanked the shit out of them. But outside of that, nothing. They can't win games. Aston Villa, on the other hand, can be very good. I think now Aston Villa are getting into that Newcastle territory from earlier in the season, where sometimes they really do turn up and they look great, and sometimes they can't fucking do anything.
Yeah.
So it really depends what Villa turns up. It also depends on if Arsenal can convert chances.
Yes,
that is the biggest thing. That is the make or break for an Arsenal result right now. Is can we put chances away? We really, a Kai Havertz goal would be massive. We'd just desperately need that for his confidence.
Yeah.
Also, Odegaard. I love his chance creation, but his shooting has been suspect recently. And he keeps ending up in the box. He keeps finding himself in the 18-yard box. And if you're going to find yourself in the 18-yard box, you got to put the shot on target. And you got to bury good chances. And he's not doing that. Really, right now, I think our best finisher is Trossard. And, last season, Trossard had the joint most goals off the bench or something.
Yeah.
And now, unfortunately, he's been forced into a starting role. So he doesn't really do that super sub shit anymore because he got to play him. But he's one of I think he's the best striker of the ball on the Arsenal squad right now. He just just put his foot through it and it just finds its way on target. The Spurs goalkeeper probably could have done better in that, on the goal that ended up being the winning goal in the North London derby. But it was a brilliant, great, well done Odegaard to create a chance. And then Trossard still had a lot of work to do. Did it, created the chance, great finish, bottom right corner. That's what we need from our attackers. And right now, he's the one that's doing that. Or we're scoring off set pieces. But Aston Villa have a fucking physically dominant midfield. Fucking Onana in the center of midfield is 6'4" and an absolute tank. That's going to be really fucking hard to win aerial duels against that guy.
Yeah. Really
and hard. I'm just traumatized from the last time we played Villa when Morgan Rogers wasn't even that good at the time. I mean, he was one of the best players. I said this at the time. He was one of the best players in the Premier League that didn't have a goal or assist. Now he's actually figured out how to contribute to goals. And he was. God. What happened?
Oh my God!
What just happened? Oh my God! Did Diallo score again?
Oh my God!
Shit. Oh God! Well, oh fuck! Has he got a hat trick now?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh, okay. How long? Predict. Let's see. By the time this episode goes out, how many tweets are there going to be that Amad Diallo has scored a Premier League hat-trick before Bukayo Saka? I guarantee you, that's going to be the talking point. That's going to be the talking point. This is a nightmare. This is a fucking nightmare. I hate this shit. I hate this shit. This is going to happen.
You know what's hilarious?
It's going to fucking happen.
You know what's hilarious? I was like, I don't even think Amad is as good as I thought he was going to be. I said that during the game, and he has shut me up.
Yep. Fuck. Now I got to defend. Now I got to... Now I'm going to have to deal with so many fucking casuals on Twitter who are going to be like, "Oh, Diallo's better than Saka," and it's just like, "Oh my god, just appreciate him. He's a good player. He's a very good player, but it's fucking Southampton."
It is Southampton.
I'm sorry, it's Southampton. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to take anything away from it. It's obviously a Premier League hat trick. It's a big deal, and well done. It's a good achievement. But I guarantee you, and I'm not going to say anything. I will not log on to Twitter. I won't say anything because sometimes I love doing that shit where I say something about something that hasn't happened yet, like, "Oh my god, can't wait for all the people who are going to compare Saka to Saka," before I've actually seen anyone do it. So I won't even say anything. I'm not even going to bait. I won't even bait interactions. I guarantee you, I will see so many tweets about it by the time that this episode airs on Friday morning. I promise you, we're going to see. It's going to happen, Brad. I'm so mad.
It's going to happen.
There are going to be so many fucking tweets about the fact that Saka hasn't got a Premier League hat trick. It's going to piss me off. But let's move on. It's just going to happen. Thank God I have him in my fucking FPL team. Thank God.
Oh, my God.
I need those points. Desperately. Well, all right. Now that I've had my little mini mental breakdown, well done to Diallo. He's a brilliant player. And I've said he's a brilliant player. So, no regrets there. I think he was the first name on my Premier League on my like young players to watch for this upcoming season back in August. Yeah. I was like, yo, watch out for this kid. Like, this is gonna be a good season for him. So do you know what? Fucking I can benefit from this situation. Don't worry.
My predicted score for this game was 3-1. I gave it out on BetUS. And then I doubled down in Discord and said, you have to take United there. I said the data has it 3-1.
On a correct score? You're insane for that. Fair enough. Can't argue with that. Argue with
And I think our buddy, Mr. Pitch, gets happy too because he had over 2.5 goals.
Nice. Yeah. That was a good. That was a good game. 4 goals is about what I expected from that game. I didn't want to play the fucking because I think it was like 3.5. I think he needed it. Yeah, over 2.5 was like minus 250. It's just like that's a lot.
I think he needs another goal in Madrid.
That would explain it.
Yeah.
Oh, someone will score. I'm sure someone will score in that game. I'd be surprised if Madrid keep a clean sheet, but hey, they have done so far.
Yeah.
But yeah, alrighty. Let's move on from Arsenal and Aston Villa. God knows what's going to happen in that game. Let's talk about Everton Spurs. This, I think, we're getting into must-win territory for Ange. And to be clear, I don't think Spurs should fire him. I think that would be the fucking worst thing to do. I have my issues with Ange as a manager. I think he refuses to adapt to in-game situations. But in his defense, recently, he has actually adapted and made changes, at least with his personnel. Like, for example, against, the North London derby, he was trying to win the midfield battle. He had Sarr, he had Bissouma, and he had Bergvall. So we're talking, he's trying to win like a physical battle. Fair enough. And then that didn't work. He's down, and then he pulls off Sarr and Bissouma, and then plays with Kulusevski, Maddison, and Bergvall. Basically 3 attacking mids as his 3 midfielders, and brings on Brennan Johnson. So he got rid of all of his defensive measurements and just went full out attack. So like, fair enough. It's interesting because I think he changed his approach for the Arsenal game and then went back to what he always does, which is just play balls to the wall, offense, fuck the defense. Yeah. So I guess you can call it an adjustment, but like kind of like not really, but like fair enough. He's shown that he can at least attempt to approach games in a different tactical scenario. So fair enough. But I don't think Spurs should fire him. They've got loads of injury problems. Obviously, they literally might almost have an entire starting 11 of guys that are out hurt right now, which is crazy. But they are now closer to the relegation zone than they are to a spot in European competition in the league. And this is Everton. Everton, who have just fired Sean Dyche and have just brought in David Moyes, which is an interesting decision. I initially said that Everton were incredibly wrong to fire him. It's now since come out that Sean Dyche basically said, I If you want to move on, then fair enough. But he specifically didn't quit because he wanted his compensation. So he basically said, fire me. And they were like, all right, bet, we'll fire you. So, okay, cool. It sounds like it was vaguely mutual. Anyway, they brought in David Moyes, obviously a legendary Everton manager. He was there for a long time. He was a brilliant manager. His managerial career really kind of went downhill when he left for Man U because Ferguson was like, hey, David Moyes, want to come manage my team of aging superstars that used to be good but now are all above the age of 30 and are no longer good? I will leave you with no promises, no young talent, and very little money. Good luck, buddy. And then he got fired after like 6 months or something. He didn't last very long there.
No.
And now he's back at Everton. So fair enough. I get why you want to bring him back. But this is a vulnerable Everton. Spurs, this is a game you really should win. I think Spurs fans could talk themselves into thinking a draw is acceptable. I think that is incredible copium.
You think, what was that last part you said?
Copium. I think they'd be coping majorly hard if they convince themselves that a draw against Everton is a good result.
I said I have this down as a draw.
I think it feels like a draw. I'll say that right now. It feels like
it, right?
Yeah, it really does.
But listen, this line has already moved 15 cents. If it keeps going, I have to take Tottenham draw no bet.
Yeah,
it's at
for sure.
25 now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was eyeing it up. I was looking. I was like, I really want to back Spurs here. And if I don't back them as a result, I will at least take their shots because Everton will sit back and just try and play for the draw from the get-go. Yeah, I know it's not Sean Dyche in charge anymore, but that's essentially what's going to happen. And Spurs have a bunch of players that love to shoot. So I might do the Tino bet. I might do the shots. Might do both. We will see. We will see. But yeah, I think you got to win this. I think they will draw, but I think you got to win.
I mean, dude, like, okay, so like, when do we start getting at what point do we start getting to like must bet territory, right? Like, holy crap, because they have to.
Well, so they've got Everton, and then I believe they play Leicester next. I will double check that. Yeah, they have Everton, then they have Hoffenheim in the Europa League, and then they play Leicester at home, as in Spurs at home in the Premier League. That is a must-win game. You can get away with a draw against Everton. I don't think that's a good result, but you can get away with a draw and be like, okay, fine, we'll chalk it up. It was a draw. At home against Leicester, you need to win that, and you need to win that convincingly. I'm talking 2-0, 3-0. That is the result you need against Leicester.
Yeah, you need to destroy them.
Yeah, you better fucking hope that they do. We'll see. Alrighty, let's talk about Man U against Brighton. I have nothing specific to say about this. I just want to say this game is definitely going to be full of fucking goals. It feels like a very chaotic game. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. One of those games.
The United Brighton game is. I took both teams to score over 2.5 because like the price was minus 105. I was like, I don't even care if it doesn't have a ton of goals, but like either of these teams defend well, and I thought Brighton be coming off a win. Luckily, I was right, barely. Now both teams coming off a win. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
I like that game. Oh, and then also, I forgot to write this game down because it's on Monday and it caught me off. But we have Chelsea against Wolves, which is the game that was like 6-2 earlier in the season, where they had like four goals in the. I mean, maybe they all scored in the first half. Actually, they weren't. No, but they had 4 goals total scored in the first half. That game was on absolute crack, and I strongly hope it is the same again this time.
Yeah,
but we'll see. Anything else that you want to talk about Premier League wise, Brad?
No.
Cool. All right, let's move on. I have one quick stop in La Liga. Mostly because this is one of those, I've got lots of, I think you guys know by now, I have, two types of games. There's this game looks fun, which is, both teams to score over 2.5, lots of shots games. And then there is this total feels too high, but I'm not sure if I have the balls to play the under types of games. Real Madrid against Las Palmas, the under is under 3.5 is over plus money. On FanDuel, it's plus 106, and I haven't even shopped that around yet. Do Las Palmas suck? Yes. Are Madrid, on their day, very capable of scoring 3 or 4 goals themselves? Also, yes. Is it incredibly tempting to take under 3.5 in this game at plus money? Yes, that is very tempting to me. So I just had to throw that out there. It's so tempting.
It's literally, hold on. My hand got stuck. It's literally up to Madrid. Literally up to Madrid.
Yeah, yes.
I'm going to depend, unless there's any crazy lineup situations, I'm going to take their corner handicap in the first half, and it just up to them. Like, they'll have the ball. Now it's just how do they score? Are they killing it,
Yeah, for sure. There were no Bundesliga games I really wanted to talk about, but let's hop over to Italy. Brad, we've got some good games in Italy. This is your area of expertise. We've got Juventus against AC Milan, and we've got Atalanta against Napoli. Those games sound fun. A lot of Serie A games don't sound fun, but I'll tell you what, those do. So, as you're our resident Serie A expert, what do you think about those games?
Freaking draw. This is what's gonna happen. Juventus AC Milan, because this is what's happening in every AC Milan game. Juventus is gonna go up, and I'm gonna be freaking above the moon. I'm gonna be like, dude, we're a beast. Mata's the man. Let's go. Then Milan's gonna score in like the 83rd minute, and then we're gonna be trying to get the lead back, and it's gonna end 1-1. Tale oldest time. That is the only unbeaten
sounds about
team.
right.
Let me tell you, Sam, being unbeaten, right? After this long in the season, you'd think you'd be higher than 6 on the table. I'm getting sick of it. I'm sick of it.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, Brad, not to bring it back to Arsenal, but I'm going to do it anyway, very briefly. I'm sick of people on Twitter being like, taking screenshots of the Serie A table, circling Juventus with 0 losses and being like, this is why Arsenal's invincible season isn't that impressive. And it's just like, I'm sorry, did you forget the part where we won the fucking league? They're in 6th place right now, and they've got the same number of draws now in January that Arsenal had for the entire fucking season that year. So no, they're not comparable whatsoever. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. But yeah, it is kind of cool that you guys haven't lost yet. That being said, you got to do better than 6th.
Yeah.
At some point, you got to start risking it for the win. And I say that as an Arsenal fan, fully aware that we have to do the same thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, and then listen, Atalanta Napoli. This one was a tough one for me, because Special K leaving, like that's a big miss. Like,
wow, I forgot to mention that in the transfer recap. That's a fucking huge move.
PSG. Oh, that's great for PSG. That's great for PSG. But what do they do? Like, where do they put Barcola? Like, do they just run a false 9 then?
They put him to Arsenal in the summer. Please.
But I just don't think like Politano is like, that's just like when you change your lineup and you're putting Neres in there. Like, Neres is already in there, obviously, right? But like they moved Special K to accommodate adding Neres because he's good. You have to have him, right? And then now you take Special K out and then put in Politano. Like, that's just creativity is like off, like 10,000% down. I just kind of wished I could have got a better Atalanta draw no bet price. But it's like minus 150, minus 160. So I think this would probably be one that I'm just gonna watch.
Fair enough. And there is that third goal in Madrid. Arda Güler scored. So there we go. Well done. I wish he'd started. I don't know why they keep starting Brahim Diaz. He's not that good. But yeah, alrighty. I have nothing to say about Italy. I also have very little to say about Ligue 1, but this is your reminder that Lille play against Nice. It should be a good game, and Jonathan David will be a bettable number. But, as we always say, Jonathan David is like a Schrodinger's cat of goal scorers. If you are aware that he is playing, he won't score. But if you forget that Lille are playing, then that's when he scores 2 or 3 goals. So my advice is bet him to score and then forget that game ever happened, and then maybe he'll score. That's the only way to profit on Jonathan David.
Did you see Thiago Almata's going to Lyon on loan?
Yeah. I mean, that's what, you can get into the ethics or lack thereof of multi-club owners, but the fact that Thiago Almata signed for Botafogo and then he's conveniently being loaned to Lyon, who are in financial difficulties and have to sell players in order to stay in the league. And, conveniently, this guy owns both clubs. Oh, how interesting. I bet that loan deal was difficult to negotiate. And Arda Güler goal just got disallowed by VAR, so I guess we don't have a third goal.
I didn't even know they had VAR in Copa.
No, apparently they do have VAR in Copa del Rey. That's rough.
That's news to me.
That's a bummer. Yeah, that's the way it goes. But yeah, so yeah, I'm excited to bet on him. I love Thiago Almada. He's a very young, talented, very solid player. The MLS is exporting a load of talent, which I love for the league. They're exporting it, they're importing it, but they're not like, it's very much, it's not the same retirement league it was, a few years ago. Obviously you've still got your Royces, your Messis, your Busquets, your Jordi Albas coming to the league to, see out the end of their playing careers. Fair enough. But you're also importing all this, talent from like the mid-tier European teams, but either it's like the second tier of like the Bundesliga or like the Championship, or I think even Real Salt Lake are going to Australia now, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah,
and they're bringing in that sort of like the players that want to take the next step, but they can't get a move in Europe yet, so they go to MLS, ball out, and then try and go back to Europe for a bigger team. Fair enough. I love that shit, and we're still exporting talent. I mean, Jean Duran right now, the latest hot example of an MLS product. That's a Chicago Fire legend, Jean Duran, right there. Remember the name. So I love seeing that. So I hope Thiago Almada, does well, because Lyon are, they're in financial difficulties right now, but they're still a big club and they play in say what you like about Ligue 1. That's a big step up for him. So it's going to be. I'm excited to see how he does. But speaking of Europe, let's talk about Champions League, because finally the Champions League is back, and that'll round us out quite nicely. We have a few games to talk about. Benfica against Barca. I wrote this game down because Barcelona are like -110 on the money line, and Yamal is fit. Everyone's fit. So
I didn't understand this. Benfica aren't playing great right now.
No, and Benfica are a good team, don't get me wrong, but Barcelona like a top 3 team in Europe at the moment.
Yeah.
When Yamal is fit. I think every time they've dropped points in the league is when Yamal was not playing. So as long as Yamal is playing, I don't see how you don't put at least like half a unit on Barcelona money line there.
Yeah, I think you have to. Like I just don't understand. That price didn't make sense to me.
Yeah. We'll see.
It reminds me of the Dortmund match when I was like, I'm taking Barcelona draw no bet for -190 because the price doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, Barcelona used to be one of those trap teams, but not so much anymore. And fair enough, Atletico Madrid used to be one of those trap teams to the point where I saw their money line was -130 or -135 against Elche, or however you say it, in the Copa del Rey. And I was like, it's a fucking trap. It's a fucking trap. But they won like 4-0. And I was just like, oh, I guess it wasn't a trap. They're playing well too. Now the only away day trap is Dortmund.
How many matches do they play in this league phase? 10? I mean, 8?
They play 8. So we've
8.
played 6. We have 2 games left. So this is the crunch time. This is match day 7, and then let's get fucking hyped because in a week's time, well, I guess it's more like a week and a half from the time this goes out, but the week after this round of fixtures is week 8, and of course because it's a league phase, everyone has to play at the same time, which means we're going to get how many teams are in this league phase? 32.
Yeah, 36.
A lot of teams. We're going to get 16 games at the same time. It's going to be fucking awesome.
The live bettors like me are going to be freaking pounding their head on the table.
Oh, it's going to be crazy. I'm going to have to do a ton of research ahead of time, because obviously once you digest those lineups, you got to be moving at the speed of light.
Yeah, I'm literally going to have to spreadsheet this thing out.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I've had this day circled in the calendar for months now. Ever since the schedule came out, I was like, yes, all these games at the same time. Fuck yeah. Monaco, Aston Villa. Monaco are favorites just at home. Monaco really kind of need to win this game. And I'm really tempted to just take Aston Villa double chance because it's minus 140, which is wild to me.
This is probably going to be a parlay leg for me on both teams to score.
That's fair.
Neither team keeps clean sheets.
That is very true. I like goals in that game. Speaking of goals, we may have just got our 3rd goal for the 2nd time in the Real Madrid game because Jonathan Bamba has scored for Celta Vigo. Jonathan Bamba, who is just speaking of the Chicago Fire, Jonathan Bamba is going to the Chicago Fire. What is Greg Berhalter cooking over there? I don't know. I'm seeing Neymar to Chicago Fire links that are coming from legitimate reporters and not just some random Chicago GREGG Greg Berhalter 007 accounts on Twitter. Legitimate links linking Neymar to the Chicago Fire, which I never thought I'd see. That feels like a fucking roulette wheel. Feels like someone drew names out of a hat, drew player names and drew teams. It was just let's make up transfer rumors and see what sticks.
Yeah.
So who knows? But hey, maybe that's we'll see. Atletico against Leverkusen. This game screams under 2.5, and it's minus 130. I don't know if I have the balls to do it because Atletico have actually been scoring recently.
Yeah,
but Leverkusen are solid, and I just don't think either team wants the win enough to go for the win. What do you think? If you had to pick a total,
if I had to pick a total, under. But I can't trust either of these teams. I've been trying just to bet Leverkusen unders, and they've been pretty profitable this year.
Fair
outside of Dortmund, obviously.
Yeah.
I didn't bet the under in that one. I'm not that dumb.
Yeah. Can't argue with that. Alrighty, one more Champions League. Oh, do you know what? Oh no, we have more games to talk about. I was gonna say Bruges against Juventus only because Juventus moneyline is plus money, and I want to know if you're gonna bite on that or not.
Fuck.
It's Club Bruges. You'd think you can do it, right?
They've been good at Champions League.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think I have to take it.
They may have been good, but also you are Juventus.
Yes. I've taken their money line every game except City. How fucking annoying is that?
Yeah, that's the way it goes.
Yeah, I took it.
And then speaking of City, PSG against City. This is a fucking awesome game because both of these teams, PSG are 25th. They are one spot outside of being in the knockouts.
Yeah.
And Man City are fucking close to it. They're 20th. So this is a must-win game for both teams because if you don't get a win here, it is down to the last day and it is probably out of your hands.
There's so many good games though. Holy crap.
I know. I love it. I love it so much.
I'm
going to take goals in that one. That one feels like a both teams to score over 2.5, but I have a feeling the odds are going to suck on that. But that game just feels I feel like it's going to be balls to the wall back and forth. No one's going to defend that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will see. I'm bummed. I had some stuff to the side for audience involvement. I'm going to have to cut this short. We've been going for too long. I don't want to extend the episode too long, but next time we'll talk about some audience involvement stuff. I know you guys submitted some questions and some topics. Don't worry, we will get to those, but we can do it next week. Brad, anything you want to plug before we head out of here?
Good news. Starting next week, the power rankings are coming back.
Fuck yeah, power
Unlocked
rankings.
college football season. Now we are back with the power rankings starting next week. So make sure you guys
Beautiful.
check those out. At Mr. Brad Thomas is the X.
Nice. You guys can follow me on Twitter at FIFA Brit. And if you guys haven't signed up for Gold Boys, now is a brilliant time to do so. You guys can sign. What am I talking about? You guys can sign up at goldboys.com. And of course, thank you very much, the Gold Boys Network, for continuing to let us talk absolute random shit. You just let us yap all day, and and we love you for it. We love this podcast, and we're very grateful that we get to keep putting it out on the air. Brad, it was lovely to talk to you. It's been so long. That's why we got a nice little bumper episode, which we love to see. It's great. The boys are back in town. You got to fucking love it. It's good. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. I will catch you next week, and to everyone else, thank you for listening. If you want to leave us a little 5-star review, that would be nice. And if you're not following us, then definitely follow us first, and then leave us a 5-star review. That would be great. Best of luck with all of your bets this weekend, and we will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.